What's up, traders? As I said in the description, the S&P 500 futures have made a potential false breakout. This is exactly what it did, close to it at least, back in April when I called it again before we had that major pullback. I'm not big on being alarmist, but I think the question should be on everyone's mind, should we actually sell in May, as the saying goes? Also, Bitcoin, or crypto in general, big news this week. Ethereum ETF launched. Not much of a reaction there, but there's some very cool stuff that's going on with the volume profile on Bitcoin that we're going to talk about today. So if you're just catching this later, fast forward. If you're hanging out with me on this Friday, just wait until the music is over and we'll get into it just shortly. See you in a bit. All right. Happy Friday to everyone once again. Welcome to the weekly close live stream. I do this every week at 4 p.m. I'm glad that you were able to join me today. And I'm hopefully going to continue my mission of trying to teach what actually works in markets. I want to first thank viewers and new listeners for checking out the video that I did. I actually did this video during the live stream last week. This was why buy here? Can we time the market? I posted this to premiere on Sunday, and it actually got several hundred views. And I hope that a lot of people kind of learned the skills that I was trying to demonstrate with technical analysis to really understand why price behaves the way it does and how it does have certain predictive properties. Some people criticize technical analysis as having it's astrology for men, and yeah, maybe it is a little bit. But when things happen like this, where you have a false breakout on the market, any market, stock market, crypto, whatever, that is a time in a bullish trend that people should pay attention to, because it's just not quite as bullish as it was. And then when we had this back in April, a false breakout, and really if we go back in time and we take a look at this, by the way, thanks for joining. If you guys have questions, if you got symbols to look at, what's up, KV? What's up, Brian? Yep, we'll get to symbols in just a minute. If you got symbols to look at, that's usually in the latter half of the live stream. I take a look at those. Anything you guys want to say, I'm here to teach. I'm here to give my analysis. If you don't agree with it, it's my analysis. Everyone has to come up with their own. But it's going to be the honest assessment I have of stocks, crypto, whatever you want to look at. Sometimes even commodities. But every single price chart should follow the same rules that I apply to everything. And so back to what I was saying with false breakouts. So we had this high that was set. This is a daily chart of the S&P 500 futures. I use futures to gauge the market because that is what I'm going to trade. If I want to express an opinion, I might try to do options on the SPY or the SPX. But if I'm day trading, it's going to be futures contracts. And so this is the S&P 500 futures. I like them because 24 hours a day, well, 23 hours a day, but anyway, who's counting? So you get a really good accurate picture of what the U.S. stock market is doing in aggregate. And so we had a high back in March of this year, March 21st, and then it failed on April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2024, to really break out. And that, among other things I talked about in that video, if you did not watch it, go back on my channel and take a look. I kind of went through, it's a nice, quick, I think under 10-minute video where I talk about like how you can actually see these little elements of price action. And man, look at what we basically closed out today. So anytime that I look at a price chart, a bullish trend or bearish, depending on the case, but in this case, this is bullish, I'm going to look at highs, especially all-time highs. And of course, we had this new all-time high that was set on that April 1st, and then earlier or last week when we were talking about this, when I made that video, price had come up on a Wednesday, held it on a Thursday, and then Friday of last week when we did this live stream, it once again held it. This week was not much more bullish. If something is bullish, it should keep on going. That's just a simple kind of little postulate there. And what we had this week was another false breakout. We had a little tiny all-time high there on Thursday of last week, and then yesterday, Thursday, pinged it, could not break higher. This is serious bearishness is coming in the market. A lot of YouTubers will come in here and every day they'll post some fear, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt about the market going to crash. But a false breakout preceded this little pullback that we had. And this is yet another false breakout. The momentum of the market, the momentum of this bull market of 2024 is diminishing. Now, do I think that we're going to have a crash? No. I think that in any given year, you have 2 to 3 major corrections. We had one. That is what this was. It was a little 7% correction from the top down to the bottom. What was interesting about this was it came and pulled back to a volume profile level right there at around 49.78 on the S&P. They just added commas recently. I guess this week they added commas to trading views. I don't know if I like that, but I'll get used to it. I don't need a comma to know how many thousands it is. Actually, there's probably a setting, but we're not going to worry about that now. And also, this was at the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud, another indicator that contains the bullish trend. And right now, it is still bullish. We are above the cloud. The momentum is free, but we're getting those little signs that things are not necessarily as bullish as they once were. Doesn't mean we're going to have a crash. In fact, if we had pulled back, let's just do a little assessment. What is the average return on the S&P 500? That's about, it used to be about 7%. People used to quote 7% being the average return on the stock market in any given year. And then we had 2021, which was like a 25%, almost 30% run. And so the average kind of moved up to 8, but I'm still going to use 7. And so if we look from the beginning of this year, January the 2nd, for where we opened on January the 2nd, at our all-time high, the stock market was up 9%. At the low of, after this trend, it was up 1.6. And right now, the stock market is up 9%. And so if we were to pull back to this cloud, if we were to pull back and really consolidate throughout the whole summer, it's not going to mean that it's not a bullish year. But that would be what I would expect right now. I've been trading for 15 years now, and I've traded through many quarter ones, I've traded through many summers, and I've traded through the last quarter. Basically, the way that I break down the stock market is kind of like they say about the seasons of certain places in the world, where you have spring, you have fall, and then you have, or excuse me, what is it? You have, what is it? It's something, you have summer, winter, and construction season. And so you basically have quarter one, you have summer, and then you have Christmas. Those are the phases that I've kind of noted in the stock market. In other words, quarter one is always an interesting time, whether it's up or down. You get a lot of movement, volatility is high, people are making their positions. There's a lot of money to be made or lost in quarter one. And then things really start to slow down because people start taking vacations. I don't know what it is, the warm weather, people don't want to trade, but really volatility and movement in the market dries up in the summertime. And if you don't really kind of reassess the way that you trade, if you don't kind of dial back your expectations, you're going to get chopped up and lose a lot of money. That's my little, old man Norrock wisdom for you. Just take it easy in the summer when you're trading. Dial that leverage back because it's not going to help very much. You will get the occasional weird thing that happens maybe August, but the month, that's why they say sell in May, because things just get really, really boring. And you're better off just kind of just sitting back and letting it go. But if you want to stay active, just keep it small. And then sometime around, I did a statistical analysis on this years ago, but I found that it's not sell in May, come back Labor Day. It's kind of extended. Actually, the real saying was from something back in English time. I can't remember what it was, Boxer Day or Saint something's Day. Anyway, I found that it's come back America Day. In other words, July 4th was about the time statistically when the market actually started to kind of turn up for the summer. So from May until July the 4th or somewhere around there, because it's a stock holiday, just kind of sit back, and then really right after July 4th, get really interested in the market. And then you have, of course, the October superstition, and then you have the Christmas rally. And so it's basically quarter one, get good. Summer, take it easy. And then Christmas, look for Santa Claus to bring you presents. And so that's the phases of the market. And we're going into that slow time of the market. It's failing to break out. I just think that this might be what we get for this year. Because look, we're already at 9% up for the year. Remember, the average is 7 to 8%. We're just a little above the average, but we're still in a bullish year. And so the market's probably going to dance around. So I just don't expect very big YOLO returns from here on out. But that doesn't mean it's going to crash. It's probably just going to be a normal year. And, oh, yeah, we've got this thing happening in November that everyone's looking at too. So I think probably people are going to be a little hesitant to really kind of YOLO into anything until we can see past this event horizon of speculation. I'm telling you guys, I don't have any idea what's going to happen in the world after November. I cannot make any predictions. I'm just going to assume that things are going to be fine. The world's not going to end. But I really can't make any assessments until we find out what happens after November. So we shall see. Bitcoin, let's talk about that. So Bitcoin, it's kind of sort of affected by the ETF news on Ethereum. Actually, let's look at Ethereum first, because that was the big news this week. I was talking to some Bitcoin maximalist friends, and they're all saying like, it was, I guess I shouldn't say it on YouTube, but Ethereum ETFs are slow. They are restricted. They are retired. They are and so look, they try to make the case that Ethereum doesn't meet the Howey test, which is a test of a security. They think that Ethereum should be regulated by the SEC. They want anything that's not, this is me imposing what I believe is going on here. They believe that anything that is not Bitcoin should be heavily regulated and just banned, because they want all the capital to go into Bitcoin and make them rich. But that's just my assumption. But anyway, not much really happened. We had a 4-hour spike. Actually, you kind of had a double spike on the 4-hour of Ethereum, but nothing has really happened with that news. Although you do know where this thing is going to break out, because I use my spike indicator for not only finding reversals, but also finding breakouts. And so in this indicator that I have, which by the way, it's free. If you send me a message on Discord, I will be happy to give you access to it on TradingView. It's nothing fancy. It basically just shows when you have these kind of spikes, these price spikes that go one way or the other. And when you have something like this, you can bet that if it breaks either one of these two highs or lows, these little swings that it makes, that's the direction it's going to go. And so with Ethereum now, you kind of have it trapped inside this range where your buyers or sellers have had a battle and just put it back in the range, and this is where their stops are. That's kind of what these spikes tell you, is where were people getting liquidated, where were they getting stopped out, where were they not. And then once it breaks, I mean, just think about it. When you put on a trade, if you are a trader and you are looking to, long or short something, okay? And so you're like, okay, well, I'm going to long it here, and I'm going to put my stop just below that little low right there because that makes a lot of sense, okay? And that's basically the trade I'm going to take, okay? Or if you're short, you're going to be looking for, okay, well, I'm going to short it right here, and then my stop is going to be right above this high right here, and that's going to be my trade to the downside. So that's where basically anyone that's bullish or bearish is sitting right now. Not everyone, but a lot of people. And so you kind of already know based on where that cross is, because it's just a little buffer above the high or the low, where people's stops are. And so when people's stops start getting triggered, what do you have? Well, you're going to have a breakout. You're going to have it either hit that and then go up, or you're going to have it break people's stops and go down. So Ethereum, you got it trapped. You got it trapped on Ethereum. So it's kind of clear what to look for in the days and weeks to come on Ethereum. Breakout, in fact, you know what? I probably should make a video about this, actually. That's actually a really good instructional thing. So I'm gonna switch to something else, and then I'm gonna revisit that because you know what? It really worked out well. I appreciate you guys sitting here and giving me feedback as I do this, and also if you shared that video, because I really just want these kind of simple tools for analyzing price action to get out to people, because this is a lot more useful than buying somebody's fancy dancy algorithmic AI indicator that doesn't make them any money. You can do this stuff yourself. What's up, Nora? What's up, Brian? How you doing? Oh, that's Jib. Hey, Jib and Jeremiah. All right. Let's see. Bitcoin. I promised I was going to talk about Bitcoin. So, Bitcoin is actually doing something very, very interesting. Let me clear this up. So, for the longest time, let's just go back in time. Volume profile, I won't say the longest time, but in this recent rally for the last couple of months, Bitcoin has been very, very responsive to volume profile levels. It doesn't want me to do on the daily for some reason. Come on, TradingView. All right. So volume profile is a tool that I use in TradingView. You can hopefully find it on other platforms as well. But what it does is it combines price and volume to find levels, very key levels where price is likely to inflect. In other words, in this histogram right here, you see this bulge right here and this bulge right here. Well, that represents where a lot of price was traded, a lot of volume was traded around that price. And so these levels become very, 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 very predictive of markets turning and support and resistance. In fact, I've started calling it a cheat code for the market because it's really, really effective at finding these points of boop, going up. And earlier I made videos about a month ago where I saw that this was basically the last support. I mean, not only was this a volume profile level, but it was also a 50% support for the leg up from February through March. And so it has held it very, very consistently over the last few months throughout this whole consolidation trend. And so naturally, I'm going to keep using volume profile. There it hit the next one, 56,900. That was the last support that I made a video about. I made that video, let's see, a couple of weeks ago. The last support, because it had to hold this support or else it was going to get bearish versus the cloud. And it did. It did. Momentum did not get out. It held that support. But volume profile has been very, very indicative of price action for the last couple months. And so now where do we sit right now? Well, we need to do a new volume profile analysis on Bitcoin because we now need to kind of look at this entire consolidation period and see where is the point of control? Where is the most price traded? What are traders, investors, what level are they most positioned around? What are they going to defend? And so if we take into account, and a lot of people ask me, like, where do you start the volume profile? Where do you put in where do you start the indicator? Well, we want to grab the most relevant price action. So we're going to start here in about the beginning of February, and we're going to go up until about this little rally that we had here last week. And so what that tells us, it gives us the volume profile, the point of control at 66,960. And where did it come and stop this week? Right there. That is a support that it has so far held this week. We kind of did this little punch up. We have a 7%, move earlier this week. What was it on? It was on Monday this week. The market comes up and people start running it up, but they couldn't quite break the all-time high. But as the week went on, they held the point of control. And so it's if we look at Ichimoku, if we use their simple rules, that price, and that was the reason we didn't just fly up to $100, $300 million Bitcoin like people expected, was because it came and it held the November 21 all-time high on the week of the 1st of March. Had the halvening happened at that point? I can't remember. No, it was late April. So this was kind of like the halvening hype rally that happened after the ETF rally. And so the question now we have is like, what hype, what force, what fundamental factor in Bitcoin is going to push it to these levels that people want? Well, if you ask Bitcoin communities, they'll tell you boomers buying Bitcoin. In other words, people are going to be so afraid of inflation that they are going to start finally buying Bitcoin and lift the bags of all these Zoomers and millennials, creating one of the largest wealth transfers from old people to young people the world has ever seen. I'm being a little hyperbolic, but that's kind of the gist of the narrative that's out there. And I'm not sure if that's true. I don't really know if BlackRock is in the business of making retail investors rich. I think they're in the business of taking care of having a fiduciary responsibility to their primary stakeholders, which is pension funds, which is boomers. But they maybe have Bitcoin in these funds, as a hedge against inflation. Maybe I don't know what everyone's intentions are. But I'll tell you, Bitcoiners, they know what everyone's intentions are, and that's that they are going to rise the price of Bitcoin to vaulted highs, and everyone that owns Bitcoin is going to be rich, and everyone that doesn't is going to be sorry. We shall see. What's up, Shub? Thank you for joining. But before it goes up to these vaulted highs, and I do have a bullish perspective on Bitcoin. I'll pull that up in just a second. But before it can get there, we need to see a solid weekly close above 73,757, whatever that little all-time high is. So we really have to. When I say a solid close, is you basically want a big green bar like this, because trust me. If you are going to get a big rise like we had in 2021, it's going to look like this. It's going to look like these bars that you see right here. You're going to have big, green, solid candles of people buying, throwing care to the wind, YOLOing, risk on, and pumping this thing up from, $10,000. You're going to have these $10,000 weekly bars comfortable to, jump in when things are making all-time highs. But it's actually, believe it or not, a lot safer than buying it at the all-time high. Really. And it's not hard to see, because all you have to do is kind of wait until each of these bars, closes to see, did it actually close above it? Because now you see you're having this kind of like this falling off of momentum. People are kind of getting a little bit quieter on Bitcoin Twitter about, how wealthy they're going to be and how sad people are going to be. That is the kind of the sentiment now. It's kind of getting a little bit of nervousness here, and so we shall see. So, but yeah, it so far held the support this week. It just has one more criteria to get bullish, and we're gonna have to wait and see. I'm a patient trader, and I hope you guys can learn to be too. Because look, I mean, what are you gonna miss? All right, let's look at it this way. So if we just decide to be patient, if we just decide, okay, you know what? I want a little bit of confirmation before I start jumping in. If we wait and we get a big green bar that looks like this, I mean, that is a huge bar. It goes up to about 26%. Okay, let's say we miss out on $18,000 of Bitcoin movement. Oh, that's really gonna suck. What are people really? What if you're really wanting to get into this Bitcoin? What do people say on Twitter? The minimum prospectus that people are looking for is 300K. Hint: if people say that something's going to get to a certain number, count off about 25% of that. You remember when Doge, which by the way, sad. Let me get an F in the chat for what is Jen? Where did we post that? Hold on, let me find it. Very sad news this week. Very sad news this week. The Doge has died. The actual Doge. Where did I see that? Did we post that? Oh yeah. Kabasu. Let me actually break up Doge here. So very sad. Very sad news. Very sad news. So Doge has died this week. Kobasu, he was a rescue. Shibu Inu, he was the mascot of Dogecoin. He has sadly passed away. So let's have a little F in the chat for that. But yeah, moment of silence. Okay, thank you. Remember when Doge was Elon Musk was going to go on? Well, we need more time. I'll bring it back up. Don't worry. I'll bring up the obituary here. Crypto. There we go. Do you all remember at that point in Dogecoin's history when Elon Musk was about to go on Saturday Night Live, and this was going to be the big bullish news for Doge that was going to take it to the moon, and everyone, my friend that doesn't know anything about trading, that we like grilling meat together, hanging out at the pool. You know, he was looking at $1. Everyone was looking at $1. And what did it get to? Got to about 74 cents, didn't it? Yeah, it got about 74 cents. And so when everybody's looking at a number, count off a little bit for that. So the reason I say that, let's go back to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, if people say it's going to go up to what? 300K, all right? Let's just be a little more conservative, and let's knock off about 25% of that. Let's say maybe we're going to get up to about 225. Okay, can we be conservative and we can say 225? So if you give up that much and you jump in with the confirmation, you're still going to end up with 166% return. What's the difference? 166% return versus a 220% return. A little difference of about 40%. But what is the risk? What is the risk of a false breakout? Well, if we go back and we look in Bitcoin's history, the false breakout that happened in 2021, that was a downside of, if you bought in on the breakout, let's just say that you didn't buy out the very high, but you bought it right about here because you couldn't wait that week of Monday, November the 8th, 2021, you would have taken a drawdown of 77% over the course of a grueling year, a little over a year. And that's painful and unnecessary. You really just want to get that confirmation that we did not see in 2021. But if you go back and do your homework and you look at every single breakout, every single rally in Bitcoin, you always have that week or two if you're being really safe, of bullishness closing above the prior all-time high. You're going to see this in anything. Stock market, individual stocks. It's just wise, sound trading. But people that already own Bitcoin don't want to tell you that because they want to be rich now, and they want you to buy it, and they want you to throw care to the wind. Oh, if it doesn't go up now, it'll be, it's inevitable, dude. It's inevitable. The dollar's going to fail, bro. Everybody's going to be on Bitcoin. Everyone buys Bitcoin at the price they deserve, is what I hear. Okay. I got it in 2010. Am I the most deserving? I don't know. I wouldn't say that. But anyway. All right, so that's Bitcoin right now. But let me make a quick video. Bear with me, guys. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, we're getting close to the second half. So if you got symbols to look at in chat, go ahead and put them in. When I'm done ranting and making my little video about Ethereum, we'll start looking at some symbols you guys got. So Brian asked, there are a lot of people who call for 100K though, maybe 85. Well, I promise this. I don't know if you've seen this, Brian. Maybe you have, but wait for new viewers. But I actually have done what I believe is the most honest assessment of the Bitcoin cycle, and I'll explain it to you guys real quick. So this is actually a video that I need to make as well. I think I'll make this outside of it though. Let's see, Bitcoin log. Is it 1 or 2? This is a logarithmic projection. Now, normally, yeah, this is it. Normally, I don't like logarithmic charts because I can't really trade off of them because they make indicators wonky and I don't think they're particularly useful. But Bitcoin is an exception. And the reason it's an exception is because Bitcoin has an exponential property and a decrease in exponential property in the supply. And so if you've done enough, if you've done a little bit of research into Bitcoin, you understand that it has a limited supply. The miners are rewarded for doing the Bitcoin processing, and every cycle, every halvening cycle, every number of blocks, every certain number of solved blocks, the reward that miners are paid for their services are reduced. And it reduces by half. And so what that does is that creates this little chart down here at the bottom, which is a supply chart of the total supply of Bitcoin. Actually, something like 90-something% of Bitcoin has already been mined. We're already sort of in this last little curve, and it's going to keep on going all the way into I think 2100, but it's going to be very small. In other words, people are going to get smaller and smaller amounts of Bitcoin for their work, and then fees, the fees that to send Bitcoin are going to be what sustains miners, which are already very, very expensive right now, somewhere around $20, but that's another metric. So what's interesting to me about the history of Bitcoin, if you plug it into a logarithmic chart, is you come up with a chart that looks something like this, where in the first days from 2010, let me move it over a little bit. When you come up to the first days of 2010, you have a very quick acceleration of the price. But what has happened, and it's undeniable, even if you don't look on a logarithmic chart, if you just do pure percentages, is that the highs and lows, in other words, the all-time highs and then the cycle lows of Bitcoin have been increasing, but at a decreasing rate. And so if you kind of do a really quick hack here, I didn't plug this into a computer and do an actual, curve. I didn't do any actual calculus on this. I just did linear angles because I frankly had to take calculus 3 times in college. You can kind of begin to see for yourself that the curve of Bitcoin's highs and lows are forever on a chart long enough timeline going to increase and decrease, but they're going to be increasing and decreasing at an increasing rate. And so a lot of people that are talking about, like I think Kathy Wood, she's got a Bitcoin price target of like $1 million by the end of this decade. I think that's a little aggressive. I think that if I use just what I see when I look at a logarithmic chart and I kind of fit a model to that, we can see that this cycle that we're in right now, is probably going to top out time and price-wise somewhere maybe into next year, into 2025, somewhere around anywhere from 145 to 160K. Essentially 2x from where we sit right now. That is my prospectus. So I'm still bullish. I'm bullish up to that point. But the risk reward for me at 70,000 Bitcoin is basically a 2x reward. That's really just not good enough for me considering the 75% drawdown potential. It's just a simple risk reward calculation that I make. Now, I also would say that by the end of this decade, or January 2030, close to the end of the decade, the last year of this decade, that we will see something like $300,000 Bitcoin, which is what most people think is going to happen now. But I think that the price action thus far really tells a picture that those are a little bit of aggressive numbers. Still going to go up, still limited supply, still going to be money coming into it. People want to buy it. Decreasing supply as people forget their wallets and stuff like that, as I did years ago. So it's going to get there. And that's actually a pretty good return if you think about it. What's the math on that? Where if you go to from 70K to 300K, well, that's at least what is it? Almost a 4x. Over the course of 6 years. I mean, that's better than the stock market offers. So it's still a good long-term investment. But I am a trader. And I know that we're probably going to get a couple more cycles in here. If you just, and so I'm going to be just as patient as I can be, even if it takes a few years to get another instance like we did in early 2023, where something happens, in this case, FTX failing, gives us that last little push down, and then finally you have a rise back above the cloud, fits the Ichimoku rules for a bullish trend out of a big 70% drawdown. This is not the first 70% drawdown that Bitcoin's gone through. This is the fifth one, okay? It goes from 75 to 90%. I wouldn't expect 9%, but let's just say 75 to 85% is what you can expect from a Bitcoin drawdown. And when you have some 75% drawdown in Bitcoin, then you get interested. It doesn't matter when. You just know that whatever price it is, that's the reason I'm not like jumping to get into Bitcoin now and missing out, because even if it goes up to 300K, I know at some point I'm going to be able to buy it at 75 again. I mean, it's just, that is what history tells us. But that's not nearly as exciting to post on Twitter, because people want to be rich now. So that's just the way that I look at the price of Bitcoin in the current state now. So bullish, but needs to clear the high with a cycle high of around, let's call it about 145 to 165 right now. And so that is what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. But I want to be strategic about it. That doesn't mean I'm not going to trade it up to that point. It's just that I'm not going to sit there with just completely unlimited risk on just solid, a full 1-to-1 Bitcoin, riding it all the way down. It's just that I'm going to keep that in mind. The targets are going to be around 145 to 165, but before we get into that rally, we need to clear the last all-time high. And so that's Bitcoin right now. Let's see. May I get an opportunity to work for you as a thumbnail designer or video editor? Why? Do my thumbnails that I make for myself without any experience suck? If so, I'm open to criticism. Sure, Shub. You may. Hit me up on Discord. The link should be below. My Discord handle is just Norok, Norok. Anyone else with periods and numbers in it is impersonating me, asking me for money. I will never DM people and ask them for money. But keep that in mind too. We can talk about that. I don't mind. I don't mind investing in good work. So yeah, hit me up. We'll talk. I have a process, and let's make a relationship. I like talking to people. So, all right, real quick, let me make that Ethereum video that's going to stand alone and come out on Sunday. Of course, you guys are getting it first, but I think it's actually kind of important because, look, I want my message to get out there. I'm not trying to be a YouTuber. I'm a trader first. I appreciate the people that watch and tune in very regularly and talk on my Discord. Those are the people I really consider to be friends. And I don't have any classes to sell. I just have these things. But I want people to learn these things and not have to pay thousands of dollars for courses like I did over a decade ago. I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't invest in my trading education. I must admit that. But I would like to think that maybe we can do this for free together. Maybe I can teach for free. We'll see. All right. So, answer your question, Jib. Does that spike indicator? So that the spike indicator 5R does not supersede. It has like a little extra thing I put in there for myself. Trust me, you don't need it. It was something that I don't even put on my charts and use. It's just got a little thing in the back end. But no, 4.1 that I give to everybody is all you need. Look, you're not going to get. There's no magical pixie dust that you can sprinkle on an indicator and make it better. Okay, it was really just kind of giving myself a little bit of more information on each bar. That's fine, which actually ended up not mattering. Well, so that's my answer for why 4.1 that you have and 5 that you see on my screen, it just has a different number. All right, so let me get situated. Go back into my mode, and as you guys know, I have to do everything live in a single take. So let's get it knocked out, and then we're going to look at symbols. By the way, get your symbols in the chat for things you want to look at. and we'll get to it. So, all right. What's up, traders? Big news this week in Ethereum. The SEC finally approved the ETF. And wow, what a reaction, or rather kind of non-reaction. Well, what does it mean in price action? I want to make a quick video. This is happening during my live stream, but I'm clipping this out because it's important. It's the topic du jour of the week. And we can now say that the price of Ethereum is trapped. And we can give a good guess of where it's going to go. We can maybe trade around this because the price action has revealed itself. So on the chart right now is a simple candlestick chart, and I have an indicator that I made, which is, I call it spike alerts. This is on TradingView. If you message me on Discord, I will be happy to give it to you for free because it's nothing magic. What it basically shows is when price swings in one direction and then back to another, you get these type of reversals. And then, of course, on the ETF, we have this spike right here, which a lot of people may be familiar with this and call this liquidation bars. A lot of people had stop runs in these directions. You've seen these before. You've been stopped out. You've been liquidated, haven't you? Well, I did. And I finally thought, well, if these things happen a lot, why don't I code this into an indicator and look at it as reversals? And so oftentimes what you'll find in these kind of spike scenarios is price will reverse, but sometimes it doesn't. And in this case, this special case that we have where we have this consolidation of Ethereum price, you know that there are traders on either side that are looking for trade to go their way. Think about it this way. When you are in a position, let's say that people were thinking that Ethereum was going to go short. They're going to sell the news, buy the rumor, sell the news. And so they are going to set up their trades like this. Here's the spike that happened. Basically, they look at this like, okay, I'm betting the thing is going to go short. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in an order, and I'm going to put my stop right above that little high right there. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? You know, stop out at that high, and then there's going to be my trade. And then the news actually launches, doesn't really stop them out, doesn't really get to their profit target. But now the people that want to go long, they have set up their own trade where they're going to try to go long, and then their stop is going to be right below that low right there. Because again, that makes sense. And that is going to be their trade. Now, if you think about it, where we sit right now, you've got traders that are long and short that are putting their stops in basically the same place. This is what hedge funds and algorithmic traders look for. They look at those order books and they try to find out where people stops because I'm going to take them out. That's what people say, right? Well, you can see this too. Just think about where the obvious place for people to put their stops are. And so where I've put, or where we can look at price is going to move is when either one of these highs or lows are broken. And so basically the price of Ethereum right now is trapped. But we can know where that cascade, where that order book is going to start falling apart if the high or low of this range are broken. And so in this case on Ethereum, the levels are about 3964 on the upside and 3500 on the low side. And so that's your breakout criteria. So very simple. So very quick video that I wanted to make because this is a very unique event, but watch what happens or set up a breakout. Hope this helps. Trade wisely. Catch my live streams at 4 p.m. every Friday. We'll see you then. All right. Thanks for waiting, guys. Hi, Martin. All right. So we had a couple of things. What's up, traders? Big news this week in Ethereum. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. Okay, well, I got a couple of things to look at, and then I'm going to get some dinner. I stay as long as people have me talking. All right, so let's go back and look. Sorry, Vicaria, ARFM. And this is just the cycle of which I do things. ARFM. Excuse me, AFRM. Affirm Holdings, okay? All right, let's do an analysis on this real quick. I already kind of see that this is sort of at a 50% retracement level. You must be watching my videos. Ooh. Except it's really breaking down from that 50%. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. You know, I was talking to a aspiring trader, friend of mine in real life, this guitarist, earlier this week, and he wanted me to teach him things, and I kind of threw it back at him. I said, "All right, well, if someone came to you and said, I want to learn to play the guitar, what would you tell them?" And he said, "Well, I would first tell them to get a guitar." I said, "Well, do you have a trading platform?" He's like, "Yeah, I think or swim." I said, "Good, you got your guitar. You can play now." Well, then you would probably show people where to put their fingers, that kind of thing. And that's sort of like giving people indicators, right? Because you got the bridge of the guitar and where you put your fingers, and you got little indications of that. And then you would give people some chords to look for. In other words, you would look for setups, right? You would look for setups on a chart, just like you would teach them to play some chords. And then eventually, after practice for many years, you can get up there and be a rock star. But it's going to take that time. And so I gave him some homework to do and some quick things to look at. And the main thing that I really want new traders to start out with is a 50% retracement level. And that is what we're seeing on display right here. We'll come back to that, but let me look at a couple of things I gave him for homework. So Amazon is what I call the trade of the century. That is because from the 2001 low all the way up to the all-time high that it made in 2021, 20 years of price action, pulled back in that big bearish year that we had of 2022 and held sort of that 50% level. Actually, if we had just used a volume profile, we would have seen that the volume profile level was even better. We'll come back to that too. But this is an example of how you can use 50% on just big things, stocks, to really kind of determine, should I buy, should I sell, should I bag hold, whatnot. Another good bad example is Zillow. Zillow is one that I always go back to because this is one that I was in. I lost money on, but not as much as I would have if I had bag held. Because when it came down to its 50%, it kind of hung around a little bit and then it broke below it. That's not good. I got out when it stopped out right there, and I saved myself a lot of headache over the last couple of years. So sitting in stuff that is going against you is a horrible way to manage your capital. But we don't know, right? We don't know if something's going to come back. Well, this is a simple test. If this thing was going to hold and go up, then it really should have held at about 35.23. Now we can maybe look at it from this perspective here. That is kind of like the caveat there. So I really try to look at there's the kind of the recent trend, but also even if we go to the beginning of the trend, we can see that this is a weekly bar and we have a weekly close below it. There's a possibility it could hold. So let me not completely nix this idea, but you really need to pay attention to this 30.61 50% level right here, because that if we get another weekly close below it, you're going to be in some little bit of trouble. You're going to be in some trouble. So let me not completely nix it, because if we look at the low, I guess maybe the all-time low, that's fair. Then it can be. Let's do a volume profile of the consolidation up to this point, and let's see. Well, that's kind of the little quirk of volume profile. Kind of the way the math works, it brings it down to a lower point. But if we do a little analysis of the bulges, the volume profile bulges here, so we got a little high there in the histogram, and then a little high there, and then pretty much it goes down. So those are going to be our levels. Yeah, so you really don't have any volume profile support to hold you up either. In fact, you actually have volume profile that kept you down as a little bit of resistance there. So watch this closely. Don't let yourself get into the 20s here, because then it's going to just find these volume profile levels, and then the trend's going to be bearish. So quick Ichimoku check. Yeah, it's keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. All right. So let's see. Oh, Jeremiah, did I get you with Ethereum? Actually, I see that you asked about volume profile and issue cloud. I think we looked at this yesterday, you and I, or not yesterday, last week. The volume profile, Ichimoku, all matter, but really, as I made that video, hopefully that helps you, Jeremiah. It's all about this little range right here. It's everything kind of matters in the grand scheme, but then this is kind of like a little esoteric take on trading. Like what really matters right now is this range, this what people are going to do around this ETF news. That's what's going to matter a lot. But we'll do it. Let's take a look. So the daily Ichimoku, if I recall from last week, yeah, it's out. It's bullish. So you can kind of be on a bullish footing there. If we look at the high, and so we can do the volume profile of this whole range, but really what we're fighting against is the price action around the last high. So didn't quite get to that volume profile, but let's just take a look at the volume profile of the high proper, just basically these bars that make it up. And so let's dig down to, we can use a daily, but essentially if we grab these bars here, just this little box of trading right here, where price made the high, we see that the most important level is going to be that 39.52, which is that actually where it just kissed and held? Hold on, let me get really granular, because these are why I say that volume profile is a cheat code. I think this kind of stuff gets me really excited when I sit down and somebody asks me a chart and I do a volume profile on it, and it comes up with this really, really perfect or near perfect level. So you can get a clearer picture as you go down into the lower time frames as well, as low as you can actually, if you're really trying to like day trade. That's what I try to do, because if I'm on the S&P 500 futures or if I'm Bitcoin, I'm going to look down as low as I can. All right, so that's getting pretty consistent. Let's see. So that level, I'm going to press my down arrow and that's taking too long. I wish that I could just have like a little info bubble that would tell me exactly the point of control, but I'm going to get it really close. Okay, that's a little too high. Let's see. Did that hit it? Drum roll, please. Oof. Close. Yeah, I guess nothing in trading is 100%, but still, pretty cool. Some people must have front run that just a little bit. All right. Ethereum, we got that out. Let's see. Got Jib's question. There was a Palantir. Oh, Brian. Sorry, Brian. I kind of skip around. PLTR. Do we got anything in the chat? No. Oh, yep. Sorry. Wolf and VO1. Let's take a look at those. And then Palantir. What is old Palantir doing? Eesh. I think that a couple of weeks ago I was asked, and that 2465 IIRC is the volume profile from this whole level right here. Let me exit the bar replay, redo volume profile. A little bit different here, but yeah, basically that little pop-up you had came up to a volume profile and held it. Kind of wonky, but I think then the other volume profile level support that I said need to be held is probably that 18. Where am I getting those levels from? Oh, it's from the big trend back here. So basically the two levels I have from a few weeks ago, 2427, which, yeah, 2427 and 1864. Those are the levels that are going to kind of determine where this thing holds or hangs out and breaks in. So gotten a little less exciting. Yeah, that's your range right there. It needs to break one of those, and that's going to tell you where it's going. AMD. Is no one going to ask me about NVIDIA this week? Sorry, but, I mean, come on. Come on, guys. Is it just so boring because it didn't go down? So people ask me, did you get an NVIDIA? Well, I got an NVIDIA back in 2021, bro. Like, 2021, 2022. This is why I like owning stocks, guys. Like, boring, old boomer stocks. Because you don't have to worry about them. When you get into a good company, you just Warren Buffett that shit. Just my ideal holding period is forever. I don't know what to say. I mean, I love stocks where, like NVIDIA or Lilly or, Waste Management, things that aren't nearly as exciting that people talk about, Costco. I mean, these are some of my favorites because they just keep winning. I mean, yeah, it's not gonna let you quit your job, but in about 10, 20 years when you do quit your job because you retire, you're going to have some ownership in some really good companies, and you're going to be retired pretty well. So, yeah, AI, My buddy Aimer on Discord, my little friend, uh, he's got me. I'm not doing this, but he's got me, talking to Chat GPT about all the problems and meanings of life and stuff like that. And yeah, as the CEO of Nvidia said this week, they just can't keep up with demand. I mean, I mean, that's a pretty bullish thing to say, but it's pretty matter of fact. I mean, they just can't make enough uh, graphics cards, which they're not graphics cards. It just so happens that the way that graphics cards are engineered, it also sets up very well for the types of AI that we as humans, we as the era of technology is using, and they can't make enough of them to fit the demand. That's good. So now let's look at AMD, the thing that you did ask about. And the reason I talk about Nvidia first is because that's another thing. I want to be in winners. I talked actually I made a video about AMD a couple of weeks ago. I think actually I kind of got a little too early because I think I was trying to play 157, but basically the next volume profile levels of 148 were there's the ones that held. Those are the ones that actually held. And I think if you looked at this from a perspective of a 50% down here, did that hold 50%? TLDR AMD, yeah, it didn't. So it was the volume profile levels that it really got to. TLDR AMD is bullish, fully support it, but if you're going to be in a chip maker, don't go trying to get in the cheap one. Like if you're like, oh, Nvidia is doing really well, but Nvidia is too expensive, let me buy Intel. That is a bad move because you want to own winners. Okay, just because the company does sort of the same thing. Hell, even one of the more recent examples was cruise lines, NCLH. So NCLH was one that I was playing, and I actually got in down here. I remember back in March, I made videos and live streams about it, and then got out on a double top failure, and I haven't even looked at it since. But my friend, who is actually goes on cruise lines, I've never been on a cruise line myself. Actually, I just trade the stocks. I think his favorite was Royal Caribbean, and Royal Caribbean do the same time period, same market has just been continued winning. It just kept winning. I don't know what they're doing different. Maybe they have better food. Maybe they have less, E. coli in their food. I don't know, but this is why even though it's the same industry, even if the stock is more expensive, even if it's gone up for more, there's a reason, and you got to sometimes do the hard thing and just own winners. All right, McDonald's. Yikes. Okay, let's see. Let me do a weekly chart. I mean, McDonald's is McDonald's. I know this is tautology, but um, I don't. I think I have traded McDonald's, but I don't. I'm not in McDonald's now. I think I probably got it. Did I get it in like a COVID 50% level? Let me kind of refresh my memory on it. So I think COVID low up to some particular high. It had a 50% in here somewhere. Maybe it was. I don't know. I may be thinking about Coca Cola, another blue chip. Let's see. Volume profile. Let's look at the levels. Da boom. Da boom. Da boom. So major levels are 232, 250, and 267. It is losing 267. Probably coming down to 250. Let's see. I don't really have a 50% in here. It's already given it up. Not particularly interested in McDonald's. I don't see really much good, much flooring here for a good matching confluence of supports. And so, not bullish McDonald's. Sorry, buddy. Let's see. Sorry, is it Wolf? Yeah. Sorry, man. I'll hopefully I'll get you. Name is sexier, Royal Caribbean. Yeah, as opposed to Norwegian. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it is. Who knows? I'll do your other one. Let's see if we got better luck on Lindy. Looks like it's winning. That's a weekly chart. There you go. That's a winner. That's a winner. Let's see what it's going to do here around this little level here. Let's grab that last little volume profile. The support is going to, of course, come from this consolidation. And so in this pullback, don't let it break 408. But, wow, like, it's not really giving you much cause for concern since COVID low. That's what you want to see in stocks. You know, you got almost a half a decade coming up on of not really giving you. See, this is the kind of stocks you want to own. I know it's one of those things where it's kind of like, well, how do you know? Well, I mean, you don't, but that's why you follow that 50% rule, where it's if this had, you know, from its COVID low up to here, if it had, you know, in this little mess of 2022, like a lot of stocks faced, a lot of stocks, every stock faced some bearishness in 2022, but this one never even touched its 50%. You know, it dropped, you know, and from high to low, almost a quarter of its value, as stocks are wont to do, but it never really violated that simple principle. Let's take a look at the volume profile on there. Was that a volume profile level of that trend coming up? Well, that would have been a great level, but it never even got to it. That's a pretty bullish sign when it doesn't even get to the obvious support. The last level, the last volume profile level before it got to there is that right there. And so you kind of, in order to get into this, like on that COVID, I mean, look how consistently it held this volume profile level from this element of price action right here. What happened here was you had a couple of resistances after COVID, and then you had the final breakout level. And of course, that created all that trading, that volume profile. See, before I implemented volume profile, my mentor used to talk about these kind of issues, just simple highs and lows, and then also breakout levels. But what's fascinating about volume profile as an indicator is that it takes all those kind of anecdotal information, all those things that traders kind of observed and put to words, and then it quantifies it into a histogram that shows you where a lot of trading stuff happened, where a lot of volume was traded around a certain price. And then when you come to that level, that is what creates these kind of floors. And so it's just really cool that I can go. I like to, anytime somebody shows me a chart of something I haven't looked at before, I love to go back and look for volume profile to see what I can learn from other instances of volume profile. But as it stands right now, that's a winner. It's been a winner for a very long time. If you have it, good. Hopefully you do. V asked, do I ever use 0.618 as a last resort? You know, I have not begun going down that step because I'm very averse to adding complexity to my trading. Keep it simple, stupid. One of the reasons you'll see me when I'm, you know, looking at stuff for people is for teaching purposes as well as my own sanity. I clean the chart up and then I focus on single things that I believe work. And I've just found so much efficacy, so much usefulness in 50% levels that I don't feel like I need to use the other Fibonacci levels. Plus, it's just going to add lines on the chart. And so I keep things very simple. I'm pretty obstinate about it. That's why it took me a while before I started looking at volume profile, because I didn't want to add to what was already working for me unless I had actual proof and experience that it worked better. And volume profile does help me trade better than just 50% alone, but I'm not really sure if 61.8 or 38.2 would help me. And so that's why I don't really add those Fibonacci levels. Don't discourage anyone who wants to. I'm just telling you what works for me. All right. Look through yours real quick. Martin's working on the Top Step 50K challenge. Any tips? I'm a little new to this. Martin, I want you to go on Discord. I want you to join my Discord and do this. I want you to are you on that? Let's see. Martin. Are you Martin V on my Discord? I got a buddy on there, really good friend. He is very much more experienced in trading challenges for prop firms, and I'm going to get you to get a discussion going with him because he's going to be able to answer your questions. I try not to. Yeah, I just pinged you on my Discord. Direct questions about prop firms to where's Jen, what's his name on my Discord? I know him as the Butthole Whisperer, which my girlfriend finds incredibly hilarious. All right, yeah, bad fees. He is our prop firm expert over there. So ask a question in the everything chat, and hopefully he can get you a good answer to that. He's done a lot of these things. He's a lot more experienced with it. My personal opinion about prop firms is if you're going to be successful as a trader, like they want you to be, you can do it with your own money. Maybe it helps accelerate it if you go through a prop firm. But here's the thing about prop firms. I'm not going to say that they're anything bad, but I've never met anyone that has made money on prop firms. Maybe I'd like to meet one, but that's just my experience. Just let me type it into him. So yeah, ask him your question there, Martin. Top 50. I'll type it in if you can't get it. But yeah. All right, let's finish up the stream with Jen's questions. What do you want to do? Oh, GME. What is GME doing? That was yeah. That's how I talk to him most. GME. What did GME do? Where's my soundboard? Womp, womp, womp. I don't even know if Zoomers remember what that sound comes from. Yeah. Hey, VO1, put that in the everything chat. You guys can talk about prop firms. He might not see it in the live stream chat. Yep, you're welcome, Martin. All right, let's see what else Jen got for me. Let's wrap these things up. But yeah, GME. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, I got nothing. You got McDonald's, Kroger. We love Kroger. Kroger's just going to be Kroger. I mean, it's already up how much this year? I mean, at this point, I don't think you're going to get YOLO gain. Well, I say that, but who knows? I don't think you're going to get YOLO stuff from a grocery company. But it's up 16% this year. That's good for a stock. That's beating the market. Let's see. Where is going to be our level of support where we can buy more? I think that's a germane question. Where the volume starts to pick up is at 49.08. I've actually got a sold call that I've been kind of sitting in, which should be kind of taking off its premium. I don't know if I'm going to do that again because that's annoying. I'd rather just own the stock, but I made a couple of extra $100 on that. So really 50 to 49, that's your point to add into Kroger. Yeah. Yeah. Let it come back a little bit. That's going to be good. I mean, I would buy more. Definitely. TSM. And that's what could happen, this is Taiwan Semiconductor. Looks like a winner. It's kind of, you got a good, it is a wonky, but a solid breakout right now of the all-time high. That's a weekly. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're going to get into chips, I mean, NVIDIA, Taiwan Semiconductor, those are the ones. AMD, maybe. Intel, Intel just can't keep up for some reason. I think Intel is just kind of one of those like behemoths, those slow lumbering giants that can't really turn very quickly. And I've got a buddy of mine that he's like one of the smartest people I know that loves all the incredible like advancements that Intel is doing technologically with lithography and how they're making chips and possibly quantum computers. Who knows? But does that transfer into profit? Not as much as NVIDIA doing AI. So, yeah. Could be a buy. Could be an opportunity. But NVIDIA's just winning, man. Like, I've been very good to not get bearish NVIDIA. I've wanted to. In fact, actually, I have made a little bit. I had a little day trade short bear in the consolidation of NVIDIA weeks ago that I'm pretty proud of. A nice little volume profile and technical setup on a single 1 day short, or like a morning short. But yeah, that thing's strong. That thing's strong. So FWRG for Rubo. I thought that was like an insult that you're doing, like a 4-letter insult. FWRG. First Watch Restaurant Group. Okay. Let's do a weekly. At least it's not a bag hole looker. And did I get the last one? Yeah, TSM. All right. Why are you in puts on Kroger? Hold on, man. Hold on, man. Hold on. Can't say. Stop it. Just own shares. Jesus. Holy crap. Anyway. Don't be buying puts on Kroger. Come on. All right. Are you selling puts or buying puts? Okay, you'll tell me later. All right. All right, let's finish this thing up. FWRG, last one. Had your opportunities. Let's go. So you have your point of control down at 16, let's call it 78. And then your other levels, you got a little bitty peak right there, but probably the more important one is going to be this one right here, which it has held, 1871. I don't know exactly what happened that year, but it was probably a good year. And, oh, woo! 50% too. Boom. That's a good one. That's a good one, Coffee Guru. I like it. I like that a lot. That goes on my list for next week. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a good weekend. And actually, this is Memorial Day, so the markets will be closed on Monday. I sometimes need a reminder myself, but I'll be back next Friday, I believe, unless the girlfriend has something planned for me. Trade wisely. Click on links below. Help people get the information out there. Look for that Ethereum video and just throw it a like. Watch it real quick. It's real quick. So, yeah. I just want people to know, just like you guys do, some useful stuff for trading. So we'll see you later. Thank you, Martin. Have a good weekend.